Oh my gosh, everything to make me perceive this kid in a sexual way. As always, as always, that's what they're gonna do. Obviously, I know it's them manipulating me. It doesn't take much for them to force me to perceive kids in this sexual way, because sorry, it doesn't take much for them to make me perceive kids that old in a sexual way, because what they do is like they look at something that can be sexual. And you heard the noise campaign, because as I was speaking, they kind of flip things around, and I'm supposed to be feeling guilty for the manipulations that they make me have, because they have this force of speech, right? So they force me to speak in different ways. What I'm trying to say, it's not hard for me to make it's not hard for them to make me perceive older kids in a sexual way, because they do that to even younger kids. So this is actually like it's harder on that part, because she's lived like 15, 16. She doesn't look like an adult at all. But they're gonna look at what they can create in a sexual way. Breasts. Okay. Maybe look at this kid's breast and try to create like a perception in a like adult, the way you would look at a woman. Now it's weird because she's still looking like a kid, but they try to make me look at her breast like an adult woman. So you hear this, this video, you hear the honking of like a truck. When you're a target individual, your whole ecosystem is meant to make you subscribe to things. The after I say what I said, there was a honking, and then the reason why this person honked is because, as I was trying to say something, I was trying to say that it's easy for them to manipulate me to see kids, it's the older kids in a sexual way, because they can do that to babies. So the older kids is gonna be easy. They're gonna look at something, and then try to create some ways to perceive these kids in like I would perceive an adult woman. It's nasty, but that's what they do. But what they try to make me feel guilty is when I was trying to say this, I said it in the wrong way, because they can manipulate your speech, right? They can make you say something off, and it can get you frustrated. By this point, I'm very familiar of those tactics. This is called forced speech, right? But that's what this guy honked, right? It's so nasty. First of all, he looks. That sounds like, what does he sound like when you're saying that? Are you saying that these people who are manipulating me to get these perceptions, because it's easy for them to do it, I should feel guilty? Like, it's just so pathetic in so many ways, but that's what they do. And then also, then they just got quiet and silent, because it seemed like, you see, we caught you. You made it. You said that it's easy for us to manipulate you to look at these kids in a sexual way. We caught you. You understand how illogical it sounds itself? Even though what I was trying to say is, when you can do that to babies, right? Like little kids, like 9-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 8-year-old, like if you can do that to a teenager, right? If you can do that to little kids, a teenager is much easier, right? And that's what I was trying to say. But even if they try to interpret the other way, like, what are you saying, that it shouldn't be easy for you guys to manipulate me? Of course. You guys are admitting that you're manipulating me to see kids in this perverted way. These people are delusional. They live off a reality where they've normalized the pedophilia environment they're in, right? They use pedophilia in so many disturbing ways to break people down, to the point that they want you to start rationalizing these tactics, to the point where like, even this moment where it's like, oh, so it's easy for us to do this to you. Like, that becomes a battle that they want you to create. It's sad, it's pathetic. But the reality is, because these people are filled with pedophiles, and their assignment is to force grown men and women to look at children in a sexual way. And then they try to find ways to kind of disorient you, say some random things. Oh, we're evil, huh? He's gonna rape you, he's gonna kill you, he's gonna beat you up, he's gonna. And you hear these people around you, this whole ecosystem that is meant to break you down. And you have to be understanding that and this is the same people calling you nothings. These are the something. Those are the same people who are calling you nothings. It's humiliating to live their life. I'm actually glad. I was glad that I captured that moment on camera because you can hear how the honking was just timed at the same time when this forced speech was happening, to let you know that this whole ecosystem that these government entities have programmed and created. Obviously, I know it's not the next door neighbor who's doing this, but you hear this person who honked. It didn't honk. That was just not. They just didn't randomly honk. They honked when this was said because they were trying to somehow make me feel guilty for having this forced speech and saying like it's just kind of illogical on its own. But it also proves my point. So I'm glad that I was able to capture that moment. I was like, oh, that's perfect because now they can, I can show how your whole ecosystem is meant to break you down. Your whole ecosystem is trying to force you to accept a false persona. This is primer. That's prime example of it. And then they try to disorient you. Oh, now you're gonna die. Now it's like, yes, you just saw what just shows. This exactly shows what I've been talking about. You have a whole ecosystem of people contracted by the government, orchestrated by these entities, filled with pedophiles, by the way, who are trying to make you accept this manipulation that you're forced to have, and try to torment you and disorient you to be subscriptive to these pedophilia things they do to you.